Hello there. Welcome to Engineering Drawing Made Easy.
In today's video, we are going to work on this example on sectioning. Now, before you can do this section, the important thing you should know is how to even draw this figure, right? And if you've been following the content on this channel for a while, I mean, this shouldn't be a challenge. But either ways, we are going to work on drawing out the figure, and then we'd go on to drawing the sectioning, right? Because then this is the instruction for the work. It says draw this to full size and then the section AA. So we're going to do that exactly here. Draw the figure to full size because then there are dimensions here, and then we do the section AA. Okay, so I'm starting with this part of the drawing because almost every part of the figure is in relation to that. And if you check the dimensioning, it says from this line to this line is 200 mm, right? And then if you understand dimensioning well, you see that this part from here to here is the same coloration, or yeah, it's the same thing. Let me put it that way. And then that is also a distance of 25 mm. And then from this end here, which is the end of the 200, is half of 90. Okay, so you just take a careful look and then use it because the whole of this is 90 mm, which is a dimension for this circular portion. Okay, so from here will be half of it, which is the radius, which is 45 mm. So that's what I've done. I have this line here, and I'm going to mark out all the dimensions on it so that everything would be drawn in reference to that. Yeah, I just realized I'm not using the right instrument for the right job. This was something I should have used the divider. I was just feeling lazy. You could do the right thing. Yeah. So now that we have these lines, I'll mark out this point is at the end here. This would be a center line, and this would also be a center line here. So just follow carefully, and then this figure is easy to draw. So okay, so let's go on to the next then, which would be drawing this part of the figure and then this part as well. Now we've we have this line now from the dimension. We move a distance of 25 mm, and then we could draw it all the way to the center line here. Then the dimension given here is that from the base to the top here is 60 mm, right? But we've also been given this kind of dimension, so you can work it out. And from here to here is 35 mm there. So that will be the next thing to do for the figure. Yeah, so the next thing would be to draw this part here, right? And then you have almost all the dimensions and then the figures we need to do that. Now this part here is also diameter, which is in reference to this circle, and that is diameter of 50 mm, right? So on our center line, 25 on the left, 25 on the right, and that gets that one done. And we have this particular part here. You might not see the dimension on the front view, but if you trace it down to the top view, you see this circle here with the diameter of 82 mm. So that means this has a length of 82 mm, and that would mean 41 to the left, 41 to the right. Yes, and I think um, this one here is in line with this circle, which is 25 mm. So the same approach, right? And then the height above the line that we've already drawn is 25. So the dimensions are they just follow the dimension and then you get the drawing out. Yeah. Okay, so we are going on to the next part of the figure, which would be this particular part here, right? And if you take a look, there's not much dimension given on it on the front view, with the exception that it's at the height of 15 mm, right? But if you look here, you can see that the distance between the center points of this circle and this circle is 75. So that means from here to this, from this center line to this center line is 75 mm. Okay, and the distance between this and this is also 50 mm. So that gives us a fair idea. We could easily draw this and this with that. But then there is this figure around it, or yeah, member around it here. Okay, and then we can draw that by paying attention to this dimension here. That from the center to this arc here is 19, is a radius of 19 mm. Okay, and the same thing applies here because it's a symmetric figure. So from here to here is 19 mm, from here to here is 19 mm. And if you know that, you can easily do that, because now you know from here to here, which is 75, and then you know from here to here, which is 19. So you get how this whole thing goes, right?
If this lesson is helpful so far, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss upcoming tutorials.
So I go up ahead with the height of 15, and then it says here that two holes, um, radius of 19, and then depth of 25, right? So this has a radius of 19, sorry, diameter rather. This has a diameter of 19. This rather was a radius of 19, but this particular one here is diameter, because the dimension is given two holes, diameter of 19, and then 25 millimeters depth, right? So, or deep. So this has a diameter of 19 mm and then 25 deep, and this is also a height of 15 above the line here. So that is the dimension I'm going to use to draw up the details in there. Yeah, I mean, I just realized that this should have been um short dashes, right? I think I'll use eraser to correct that. Yeah, so going on to the last few features of this figure, right, would be this part here or hole here, right, and then this rib here, and all the edges, right, the filleted or yeah, I think these ones are fillet edges. So all the fillet edges would put in. Now, if you take a look at this hole, okay, it's been dimensioned here as 25, and this representation and then this um dimension represent that this is a threaded hole. So it's a hole where you put in your bolts and screw it in, right? So the the bigger hole has a diameter of 25 mm, and then you go off an offset of about 2 mm on each side, and then you draw another similar hole in there, right? So that's what we're going to do from our center line here. We are going to go um the 25 divided by 2, right? So we'll go 12.5 to the left and 12.5 to the right. And then we draw our lines, and then we come off offset of 3 mm or 2 mm, right? 2 mm in and then 2 mm in. Then um, from this dimension, right, the end of this rib here to the center is 20 mm. So you mark that out, then you just draw a line from here to here. That gives you the rib. So it's fairly easy. You just need to understand the dimension. Okay, now so there we have it, right? We have the entire figure drawn out. The only issue is that almost everything is in faint lines, and then there are a lot of constructional lines in here. So quickly, I'm going to clear out the constructional lines and then also bring out the deep lines. Yes, the what am I saying? I clear the constructional lines, I erase them, and then mark out or deepen the actual lines so that you could see the workout. And another thing that you could notice that all these figure, all these features, you have some curves on the edges, right? That is the fillets feature in drawing, and that has been accounted for. It says all unspecified radii is 6 mm. So every single curve you see that has no dimension to it, the assumption is that it's 6 mm, because then that is what has been stated here. So we follow the instruction. Every single curve on the work, right, is going to be drawn with a radius of 6 mm. Yeah, and from the principles of tangency, this should be something easy to do. So let's get this done. Yeah, so uh, as painful as it was, we've gotten all the fillet acts in there. So what's left is to draw out the main lines. Okay. Yeah, so I'm so used to drawing accurate, you know, technical drawing lines that I ended up making the line so faint the camera doesn't pick it up well. So I had to go in and deep in some aspect. But this is it. You can clean most of the constructional lines and then have the actual work in there. But that's how you go about the front view, and then we go to the top view, and then from there we go on to the sectioning aspect of this. This is just something in the line of photographic projection, but that was covered in the previous semester. The semester is focused on sectioning, so would work on that next after we get a top view done.